What's going on, YouTube? So I'm a very skeptical person, and sometimes we're skeptical of the wrong things, and we make bad judgment calls. But it's okay to be wrong, as long as you are willing to admit you're wrong and change your opinion based on new evidence. So, some new evidence is that this material has gone through several independent studies. All these materials that were from the Atoms project. This Luis Elizondo has all these pieces of material that just imagine how many pieces have been recovered and have been recovered and must be around. Just think of all the ancient space battles that have occurred, epic crazy space battles, distant and the way parts of the galaxy, and how many pieces must be out there, literally just rained down on Earth, just scattered, that have fallen down, pieces just like this that you might even be able to dig for in your backyard and find. It's amazing. But this material has the scientific studies on this stuff have come back, and the whole thing with Tom DeLonge and the terahertz thing, that he looked like so dumb on Joe Rogan, and there was so many people making fun of it. It was I don't know if it was done intentionally to ridicule the stuff. I don't know what the hell was going on with it, or why they would pick Tom DeLonge as their front man and stuff. I was always just like, what the heck is going on with that? They trying to just reach the younger crowd with the rock star personality or something, and he's just super interested in this stuff, but he doesn't have the knowledge of the research experience to really back it up, and he just got owned on Rogan. But this material, man, is literally from a spaceship, and they've done a lot of the studies on it, and we understand some of the quantum mechanics. And it's basically, we're at the level right now. I've been talking about this long enough, and enough people follow my channel who are in the know, and are really into the science end of it and the technology end of it, which is the real intelligence end of it. That's what the real intel is real focused around, and looking for and trying to understand. But we're closer than ever to having this technology, because now we understand a lot more about how it works. And I'm going to get into all that and the theoretical stuff behind it in a little bit. But they hit it with a terahertz frequency. I'll give you a little bit right now just to prove that I'm not bullshitting. They hit it with the terahertz frequency, and it creates what are called polaritons. And this link is in the description of the video, and you can look this up. These are some of the studies that have been done on it, but they hit it with the terahertz frequency, and the surface plasmons create what are called polaritons, which create what are essentially negative energy states, or antimatter, temporary states of antimatter. And antimatter has just these weird properties that we don't really understand. We don't really know what it is. We understand mathematically that it has to exist, but we don't really understand what it is, or what the technology that we can do with it yet. But it creates these exotic condensates where it would lead to mastering the whole concept of superconductivity. If we could understand that, we could make high temperature superconductors, and build all sorts of levitation and warp drive, and all the other crazy machines. I know you hear the words warp drive and you immediately think, what, Star Trek? This is bullshit. This is way too far out and crazy. But literally, this is for real, people. You think we're alone in the universe, and you look around up in the sky and you think we're alone, dude? No, we're not. And people need to be ready for it. There's a lot of people who, and I think there's a lot of history that needs to be done, and FOIAs that need to be done to really find out how far back this goes, because the theoretical stuff, as I'll show you in a little bit, goes back to the 50s, with Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein started the whole Manhattan Project in the search for the atomic bomb, essentially with some of his theories and stuff. That whole science and the search for that was based on Einstein, and his later work was also more involved, and some Tesla stuff too, and I want to get into that a little bit too. Some interesting connections. There's still history that needs to be pieced back together, which is crazy. As much as I want to look towards the future, there's a lot of other people like Michael is the historian on my team, and Michael's job is going to be to look back and really we're trying to answer these questions about, was Roswell, the debris Jesse Marcel's son described was much closer to this. He said a bakelite material with these weird properties, and it was much closer to these types of materials than this Operation Mogul weather balloon reflector, mylar weather balloon reflector, and balsa wood that is in these pictures that he said were staged and faked for Air Force intelligence purposes, to cover up the real debris that was allegedly discovered there, whatever it was, alien bodies or whatever you want to believe. This is history that needs to be like reevaluated now, I think. But let's look at the present and the future. Back to that. That's all stuff that needs to be debated and looked back at. But Defense Intelligence Agency report that came out, and I went over this before, it mentions like literally metamaterials, wormholes, gravitational wave communications, these field effects on biological tissues and stuff. Quantum tomography I thought was interesting, of negative energy states in the vacuum, and that one's classified, I believe. Yes. But these things are all coming out. Like this. I swear there's going to be literally a arms race based around this, because this technology is like, this is like Pandora's box. Literally, what we'd be able to do with this once it's fully developed. But the thing is, the creation of these materials is very difficult, and it's meticulous. And I'm going to talk about that kind of first. I wanted to touch on that, because that's the important stuff. These artifacts. How would I make this material, this layered metamaterial? It's actually, they scan this with a scanning electron microscope, and on the molecular level, it's literally a metamaterial. It has like these. It has a structure to it. It's a fine structure to each one of these layers that gives it different electric properties, and the combined sheets of it touching, of these varying sheets of different dielectric materials, give it these weird. It's basically like it's almost it's crazy, because it's very much like an ultra capacitor. What I was envisioning for this Thomas Townsend Brown experiment, that I wanted to, like, well, if I wanted to take Thomas Townsend Brown's like idea and really like bring it to like the full level, I would find these tuned frequency layer materials and metamaterials, and layer them, and like that's what this is. That's what this is, and they hit it with the terahertz frequency that makes these polaritons appear on the surface. This whole thing turns into a Dirac hole, basically an antimatter shift, and that antimatter shift creates this like bubble around the craft, which is what I was talking about in that other in the other video I showed. But it's crazy. This goes back to this guy John Archibald Wheeler, who I'd never even heard of him. Like, wow, this guy, like, he knew Einstein. There's pictures of him with Einstein. He like wrote papers with Einstein, and like I've read like a whole bunch of books on Einstein. I've read all like Einstein's important papers, and most, like, everything on Einstein. I've read tons of stuff on Einstein back in the day. I don't like keep up on it, but this guy right here, never heard of him, man. And it's crazy, because I've heard of Feynman too, and I think that a lot of this stuff might have been classified, and that's the reason for it, because this goes back to the 50s too, and it shows that they were, they knew something about this or had some information on this, and it's like you wonder if, like, was this guy one of those the MJ-12s that they speak of in the UFO community or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting. Let me see. The Gravity Research Foundation. I've got a hold. I want to get a hold of these guys. They're right up in Massachusetts near me. I want to interview them, get some more stuff on the theories of gravity and stuff, and talk to more people about some of these ideas, and really get them out to the mainstream scientific community, because this is going to be a new Manhattan project, literally. But I don't know. It's almost like it needs to be a globalized, consolidated effort. We don't have, like, everyone says, oh, there's a secret space program that's already doing this stuff. And I just wanted to. There's a whole video on this, and I think it's this. No, it's a long one. There's a video showing, like, the whole process that goes through, like, that Boeing aircraft, for example, builds to build one of their 757 jets, and the types of where all these parts come from, and this part's manufactured in Illinois, and this part's manufactured right in Rhode Island, and this part is manufactured over in over in Milwaukee, but then it's shipped to San Jose for a special type of coating, and then it's shipped out. There's what I mean. So there's a whole logistics process that has to go through for every piece of this aircraft to, like, make it all work and make it all fit together. And this isn't like nearly the same as what we're trying to do with this. And people, like, I've talked to people, oh, we can do it without, like, these crazy materials, and this is like unimpendium. And no, it's not. It's not really unimpendium, dude. I really think that, like, there was a global race already that the Pentagon already approved 400 or 800 million in funding. Yeah, 800 million in funding in the Pentagon's budget over the next 5 years for quantum projects, and that's for and quantum physicists are in high demand now and they need quantum engineers and people who can apply it. So, like, I gotta get. I mean, I'm thinking I gotta find. I could get a job doing some of this stuff right now, working for one of these companies. This is like never before that this stuff, physics, is going to be in demand. And I'm so glad, because I knew it would one day be like the most important thing, and this is going to revolutionize literally everything. I don't know, like, people, if it's sunk into anyone sitting here watching yet. It was like it really hit me, like. It might not hit you for a year. You might have to look into the physics of this stuff and really convince yourself of it, and see. But it's interesting. One of the guys that John Wheeler mentions is this physicist who worked for NASA and the Apollo program, and he was the guy that measured. They put the mirror on the moon, and he used laser wavelengths to, like, literally each wavelength is the structure. He's measuring the structures. That he's counting structures to measure the distance of space. Like, it's so, like, back to the Phoenix theory view of quantum gravity. This whole that there's a structure to space. That space isn't just empty. It has a structure to it. And it's actually full of stuff, which is proven with that space is really, it's empty positron electron pairs that come up, pull apart and do different things, and all different types of particles that pull out with antiparticles out of the vacuum spontaneously for different reasons, and different interactions. But Carol, Alley, it's interesting that I've been doing all this research simultaneously, because there's this. We talked a lot to that librarian guy down at the library in West Virginia, and he was talking all about Carl Allen, or Carlos Allende, and the Philadelphia experiment, which was supposedly this variation of Einstein's, that they were testing these ideas from a variation of Einstein's stuff that was classified. And I've always been looking for like more information on that, like if that was like actually real or not, like within the physics world, because he said that all this information came from a guy named Carl Allen, and they proved that he was a fraud and that he was just some whack job and stuff. But I thought it was interesting that this guy I'd never heard of as well, who's connected to all these alternative theories of Einstein, and right around the same time, born in 1928 in Richmond, Virginia, died in 2016, and his name is Carol Alley, like almost very close to Carl Allen. It's like, could this guy be Carl Allen, and could that, so I'm not convinced that, like, I was gonna put this whole thing together, and I have it edited down, and I might still publish it because it's very interesting. He's put the letters together that say that Carl Allen made this all up, and that he's just some nobody, you know, and that he didn't know anything about real physics. Well, yeah, well, I'll be the judge of that, because I talked to this guy about some physics, and he didn't really know, it wasn't up on real physics and stuff. So, and I was interested in, really looking more into that. And I thought this is interesting. So this is my ongoing, this is some cutting edge stuff that that's going to be dug into and really explored fully in the upcoming series that I'm doing. Is could Carol Alley be Carl Allen, and the Philadelphia experiment be something related to this technology, with what they knew at the time with Tesla coils, providing this electrostatic charge fields, and then doing these types of warp techniques with that. And maybe they figured it out back then, and they were just like, yo, this shit's like crazy, and they're not ready for this, and we need to move it to like these secret locations to do research on it, like Montauk or all these other places, well, where all this messed up stuff was going on. But I don't know, this is interesting stuff. I just wanted to bring that up, and see what people thought of that. In fact, where's that interesting? So I got 76 people watching me. It's pretty crazy how you know this is like really breakthrough stuff, and the stuff that gets the views is like, I just see so much mindless stuff getting so much more views, but whatever. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and people can do whatever they want to do. But this is friggin' amazing. Polaritons, literally, these papers. I'm still sifting through most of these, but just look at this stuff. It will blow your mind. Read these papers. All the hell put off stuff. It's taken me like a year to really like digest them, and like check them, and back them up. And another interesting thing I learned is that I was looking through all the list of the periodic table for all the reactions of elements that had positronic decay, where basically anything that produced antimatter in the form of decay, because I was looking for sources of antimatter, basically with, so there's certain isotopes in the periodic table that have positronic decay, that decay and give off antimatter. And it was interesting that it was atomic number 49, but the isotope number, the neutron number, is close to 115. So there was this, and I started researching this, and there's some ideas that maybe Bob Lazar was given disinformation on element 115, and that element 115 wasn't the proton number, it was actually the neutron number, and that it was this producing as their source of antimatter, indium. Of course, we now know with this whole polariton method that it's not real, and the whole experiments that were done on this piece of metal and the metamaterials, that you just hit it with this frequency and it creates these polaritons. You don't need a positronic source. You don't need a source they create this. This is the source. It's a trick to create it on demand. You just flash this and resonate this, and you buzz like the surface at these, and these things get trapped like between two mirrors, and they produce those holes, the Dirac holes, which is like an antimatter envelope, and it can be used for warp drive. I'm not going to get into all the details of it because I want to get together with people and actually do these experiments and show this, and show people that this is real. This is going to be breakthrough stuff. I'm sure that they're already doing it, and we have some of the equipment like this. This is a very good place to start. This guy David Waite, he's very persistent on my channel, and he posted this. This is a great basis for an experiment, David. For all those mathematically inclined people, I encourage you to check out this video. I'll post a link to that in the description as well for y'all, and in the chat. This is a great place to start for our first experiment, and I want to get like more people together on this. That's why I wanted to reach out to this gravity group here in Wellesley, and it needs to be a whole conglomerated effort. Basically, anyone with the intelligence that to understand the physics and the manufacturing processes and all the anything related to that, which the whole assembly line that's going to be needed of people. It's going to be like hundreds of thousands of people that are going to need to come together, like a Manhattan Project style operation to build this industry, to really bring us out of the into the space age. We need to get into the space age. Rockets ain't cutting it. NASA's been like, it's crazy that we have guys like this who've worked for NASA, doing all this. He does some of this basic stuff, but he's on the side. He's doing all this really classified research, and they're keeping it all secret. It's a shame that it's now almost 2020, and we're finally having the vision, of clarity. Some of us got it a little early, here in 2019. But I hope by 2020 it really gets out there and resonates, man. People need to share this information, and like I don't know how else to get the message out, man. I try to explain it to people, and they're like, dude, you're freaking, are you crazy? Are you psycho? Like warp drive, and like they have alien materials, really that they were found on Earth, or that people have assembled over the years, and these so-called men in black have taken and assembled and collected for their own study, in some hangar at NASA or out in Los Alamos, where they have tons of labs all over the place to be able to do whatever. So I get the funding, but anyways, I just wanted to share some of this stuff, man. It is literally like, this is what's going on. It's not fictional. It's for real. It's happening, Well, anyways, guys, Space Force. I want to talk a little bit about Trump and the Space Force, because the tiger's out of the cage now with this technology. As worldwide, Chinese, Japanese, all the Russians and the Iranians are all very interested in this technology. In fact, Jack Sarfati says on that the fuller clip of I clipped a piece out of him for that other video I posted yesterday, and in the full length interview of that, he says that there's about 100 or so, 170 or so, maybe he said 700 Iranian scientists who follow him and follow all his posts, and just trying to get information about this stuff, and more info. So a lot of this stuff is public. There's a lot of studies going on into polaritons and stuff, but some of the stuff is classified. But it's on that barrier where the science is breaking through, and it's such an there's so many markets for this, and we need this technology so bad to fight, all the problems we need for global climate control. Um, you know, we need it for aircraft. If we need it for like the Space Force, hello. Why do you think Trump's created a Space Force? And did you know that we have a new Secretary of Defense? I didn't even know that. His name's Patrick Shanahan. And very interesting guy. Very interesting connections that I won't talk about here, but you can go to that other video from yesterday and find the link to in the description to Jack Sarfati's interview on this channel. I wanted people to subscribe to this other channel too. Where is this channel? The Star Drive Report. Yeah, the Star Drive Report. Go to this channel and subscribe to them guys right now. They're an awesome channel. Definitely go and subscribe. And this guy though, Patrick Shanahan. Yeah, I'm gonna let people do some research into this guy, like, because of course the Wikipedia article says what they want you to know. It doesn't tell you everything. This guy's got to have something else going on. But I didn't even know that they had installed a new a new defense secretary. And every time they these guys are some of the defense secretaries they've been assigning, since like some of the ones in the Obama administration, that they assigned those guys so that they could set up these types of secret programs, and then like they assign someone else who doesn't know anything about it. They get rid of that guy and assign someone else. But some of those guys were connected and are like this so-called secret space program guys. And it's crazy to think, I don't think it goes as far as a lot of people think it does, because these technologies, these things are really hard to create. It's not like Mylar. Building those that atoms artifact thing, the metamaterial. Building something like that. Oh, I can't find it now. That's funny. But anyways, building something like that is going to take a whole type of new technology, and it's going to take a lot of clean rooms too. You see, I was just saying that clean rooms, right? I talked to a lot of people, and they're like, I don't even know what a clean room is. I was like, well, you need a clean room to make metamaterials, to make like these super pure isotopes. And how would you make these super pure isotopes anyway? Like, what would be the method? One of the methods I was thinking for these layered things is a liquid or a gas co-deposition, or a deposition. Where you basically you inject it with this high temperature like metal in a gas form, and then you hit it with cold air, like coming downward, so it compresses all that, like it cools and solidifies into a solid in a layer on the surface. And there's some methods that do things like that that they have. Another suggestion is that it almost looks like a seashell, the way it's like built in layers, and maybe they have like an engineered biological organism where they mutated the DNA and spliced it and made a crustacean that would or made a shellfish that would basically grow these types of things as a skin or as their shell. That's one of the ideas. There's ideas I've heard. If you have any better ideas, please post them in the comments for like how would they make and build that type of material. They'd almost have to have like a 3D printer, a nano scale 3D printer. In any case, any type of contaminant and like an atom by atom lattice, if you have a piece of dust that comes in, and it's going to mess up your whole structure. If you got a piece of dust inside the middle of the lattice, it's gonna screw up the properties, and like make it imperfect. So that's why clean rooms are going to be essential, and clean room technology is and the construction products involved. There's going to be a huge industry in this, and there already is. And I don't know. It's going to take off, and like this is going to be most of the jobs of the future. People are going to be working in environments like this. It's unfortunate. Like at least they're well climate controlled with the temperature and everything. Just like, and they're pretty safe for hazard fire and stuff. They just kind of weird working conditions to have to wear these suits and stuff. But a lot of the work that's being done right now is on classified metamaterials and this warp drive technology stuff. I'm sure there is like this Manhattan scale type project going on, or it will be going on very shortly, or it was included, or part of that funding, or a bigger portion of that for the quantum computer stuff that they're looking into. Also, this type of quantum technology too. So this is very serious. This is I was surprised. I thought that like that these guys I still don't trust everything because of the way they did it, and certain things involved. But like maybe it's just incompetence. But still, I've reached out to their scientists, and it's weird how Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis don't talk. They haven't put out anything. They haven't put out anything in terms of media. If you go to the Stars, Academy, they had a YouTube channel. They had a YouTube channel, but you go to their YouTube channel, and they haven't really posted any videos of the science. It's like, or any really new videos. They posted a couple of interviews with like Hal Puthoff, but they're like 2 minutes long, and he doesn't say anything. Have him go like explaining the science. Putting out stuff. It's all about the science. You get the scientists and the scientific community, but I don't know. Maybe they don't want to let all that science out of the bag, but it's already coming out of the bag in different forms. It's so crazy. To people that are really studying it and getting into the papers, to the technical people who can get into the papers and dig into what they've released. I'm sure there's industries already starting to develop on this everywhere, because this is going to be the future. It is going to take us to the stars. It's pretty crazy. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say, guys. It's getting hot in here, and I'm getting tired. I wanted to do this earlier, and probably would have got more people interested in watching if I had. But I got 100 now. Nice. So yeah, for people who are worried about paying the bills and stuff, dude, I think that like there's something going on. These people got big money, and they're gonna put money into this. And if you want to pay, you want a good job, like there's people hiring for everywhere. I'm gonna start putting applications out to some of these companies that I know are working, or I suspect. I don't know all of them are working. Some of them I know. I might, I gotta find a good company that I can put out, but I gotta take maybe I'll just apply to Lockheed Martin, because I had a friend just get recruited too, and that's how I know they're hiring all kinds of people for these projects, because he had to get a security clearance, and this guy I'm working for, and he told, so I've been hearing like lots of this, that other people are getting hired by these programs and stuff to go and getting security clearances and going to work for doing stuff like this. So I don't know. It's like, where do you want to draw the line? Should I go and work? I can't make any money from doing this, from putting videos out. I'm not doing anything with this channel. I don't know, I feel like I would need so much help to like really make it take off. Sometimes it's like I'd be better off just trying to get a really like high paying job doing this full, because I want to help with this, man. I want to get us off the ground. This technology, and we have it. We're so close, and I have so many ideas for how we could build this, man. Like, I don't know. It's like I feel like it belongs to the people, dude. I feel like it belongs to everybody on the planet. Like I see what's going on right now, and there's like it's like Manhattan Project. You know, the U.S. is now like we're racing to try and like be the first to crack it and build these things, and Russia's heard about it now, and they're like trying to build these things now, and also like China and Iran and whoever else out there that has the kind of capability and resources to try to do this type of research and build these things. This is what's happening. But I really feel like that information, I mean, that's what they've kind of done is brought it out to the public to make it say, you know, to show us it's like it belongs to humanity. Like this, we need to like, I don't know, it's crazy. Like we need to like all come together, I think, almost as a planet to like collectively to make this work, to pull this off in time, you know. Like I said, like there's something, I feel like something bad's gonna happen to this planet soon if we don't like do this and get off this planet. Like I've been pushing for like this technology. I've known like there's people who've been in the know, and they've held this technology back for years and years and years, and now that they've released it, literally all the disinformation that they've put out and all the distrust that's put into people, researchers like me, like turned me into a complete skeptic, because there's so much disinformation, so much bullshit, and it's just no trust. So it's like it's hard, you know, to like when you see something like this to be like, you know, is this legit or not? And not all of, you know, and I still like I go back and forth on everything. You know, it really depends on the experiments and what can be proved with the actual experiments and stuff. But these papers that are coming back on that material are showing that it's a metamaterial. Yes, you hit it with this terahertz frequency, and it creates these quantum wells or quantum dots or Dirac holes or antimatter structures, or you know, quantum tomography. And there's tricks. It's a trick of inertia. It's like literally it's 0 point energy. It's pulling yourself out of space time. You can almost like create an image of yourself, send that as light through space to another point, and then warp to that point and disappear from the other point, like that quantum eraser thing. That's that whole quantum eraser that he was describing. It's not just that it doesn't just work for light. The equations show that it works for information as well, and information includes like you or your spacecraft, you know, which is amazing. That's mind blowing. If you know, we can teleport. We can literally just teleport, or use it to teleport small. The first thing is this thing we want to try is just teleport a short distance away and focus it to make this warp drive, you know. But I think that we might be able to vector or basically jump to further distances and stuff. I think that's also possible. We're gonna find out like literally teleportation is possible with these things. And that's kind of crazy too, because there's all kinds of talk about what's really going on out there, but it really comes down to the physics, and it really comes down to the science and what we can prove. And that's where I'm on the hunt of is we can be the first to find a way to construct. I want to get a clean room company. I want to build a clean room company, get all the supplies, and so there's enough businesses around here, labs and other things that we could. I mean, and with this new industry propping up, like you invest in a clean room company, you're going to be in on all this stuff. You're going to have like a back door on all these projects, almost like, but not that I'm really going to use it like for whatever, but it's just as a way to I want to build up on it. I want to build up the supplies and the knowledge to, like, construction, clean room construction, and also so I can build one to do these types of to do something like this, man. Like, you can build your own clean room and start doing experiments with deposition and different ways of there's another way of layering that's called that uses a gel, sol gel, a sol gel type. There's a whole sol gel is a very interesting technique. It's a process, material science process, and it's a method for preparing specialty metal oxide glasses and ceramics by hydrolyzing a chemical precursor, a mixture or precursor that pass sequentially through a solution state and a gel state before being dehydrated to a glass or ceramic. And these glasses that they're talking about could a lot of the technology that's involved in this sol gel stuff, SAIC, and they're already building this stuff. Basically, there's companies that are already doing a lot of this in secret, and I think have been for a while. But that's up for the historians to look back, and it's really, this so crazy what's going on right now, and like so much of it's secret. It's going to be so hard to like document it for the future, how it happened and when it all happened, and because it's all hidden under this umbrella and these black programs of like these companies that like represent, they're like a pharmaceutical company, but that and they make some of their money off some pharmaceutical stuff, but on the side they're doing all this stuff for a top secret thing under that heading and paying all these employees as if they're pharmacists when they're really physicists, and this shit goes on, dude. Like, but this sol gel process uh, is I think one of the keys. It's definitely one of the keys to making these one of the best ideas I've seen so far for layering metamaterial type and building metamaterials or these types of things. But yeah, these negative refractive indexes, all the physical properties of it, what they're able to do with the light, it breaks, it messes up the laws of physics. It breaks the laws of physics. I don't think it's Mach's principle. It has more to do with uh, the stress energy tensor and general relativity and adjusting it. And there's ways to do that. Electrically with these plasmas, polaritons, antimatter. So basically, I want to just wrap up with one quick point that David made, and it was on my last video, so I'll have to go to my channel. Find it real quick. Zzz, I know people are sleeping. I just want to read his comment. I had to go. I probably have to go way down to find it. It's pretty well hidden. Come on, where'd you put it, David? I swear it hides like the good shit, dude. Did I move it to the top again? I can't find it now, dude. I don't know where it went. But no, all he has left is this one, mocking me for not mocking us for not looking at his comment and understanding it. Anyways, yeah, he basically says that the whole problem with the Alcubierre warp drive is that you need these super high energy, negative energy states or densities to create the warp drive, and he's basically shown a way mathematically that you can decrease the amount of density of material that you need to create a warp drive. And I think the bare minimum amount you need is just this complete surface of polaritons, according to his models. Just a whole surface of the whole craft, as long as you're completely covered with these polaritons, you can warp, in an instant, you can warp like one point to one point. And it's really about now do an experiment to build a little object from these layered materials of different dielectric properties, to create these supercapacitor dielectrics, and hit them with these, electromagnetic waves to see if we get these actual, some crazy effects. But it gets so advanced when you get into like the molecular makeup of this, man, to really like to understand all the stuff that's going on. It's far out. It's far out, dude. I don't know if we're gonna need quantum computers to build the navigation systems to run these things. If we're doing warp drives, man, we're gonna need a quantum computer. Anyways, oh yeah, Stoyan Sarg, man. Stoyan Sarg is on to some stuff with his basic structure and matter theory, and those helical structures, that periodic table. In fact, I was going to show that. I thought I had a thing on that. Yeah, Stoyan Sarg, dude. He's got these periodic table with these. It's a really interesting periodic table. I had it all printed out at one point and stuff, and it just shows all how the properties of matter through these mathematical models and stuff, which I thought was really interesting. But it'd be interesting to see what India. Huh. But anyways, yeah, he's got a book, a really cool book with some experiments. I want to interview Stoyan Sarg and go meet up with him. He's definitely on my list of people to talk to. And but this is crazy stuff, man. This is far out of the galaxy, and I gotta find the right company to link up with. I want this information belongs to the public, dude. It doesn't belong to. It doesn't just belong to a couple rich people to like build their own breakaway civilization and leave the planet and just leave us all behind to die. We need to all get off this earth together and make it, and that's what needs to happen. And I think we're closer than ever now that we're understanding these polaritons and this antimatter stuff and these old school tricks from the Wheeler-Feynman absorber theory and all of Wheeler's old stuff, going back over all of this guy's. He's the physicist. He's a classified physicist for sure. It's like his stuff didn't exist, and then now he's just like, oh yeah, here's this guy that was friends with Einstein that was just not published in any papers and never talked about, but like he existed behind the scenes. You hear all kinds of stuff about Tesla, and Tesla's super popular, and he's all out in his more outlandish stuff that was written, when he was going senile towards the end of his life, seems to be the most popular of all the stuff. And then guys who are, really into the theoretical physics of gravity and stuff way back in the day, and we're right on with a lot of this stuff. You don't know. He had the Robert Oppenheimer Award, an Albert Einstein Award, an Enrico Fermi Award. Like, these are like the most prestigious physics awards that you could have. And he was involved in the Manhattan Project and the hydrogen bomb. So, yeah, no wonder. Quantum information theory. Geometrodynamics, yeah. the whole GPS system, and these quantum fluctuations, which he calls the quantum phone. Which it's this quantum foam. That's the whole idea. Is this, you're resonating it, like you're foaming it to create these holes. That hole in the center in that diagram of that polariton is that Dirac hole. It's that negative energy state, and when you line those all up in a two-dimensional pattern, they create like it's amazing effect, and it literally creates an envelope around the craft, and you can use that and you can bend it with like another, by hit it with, like, I guess you hit it with another frequency, and you can, shape it to, like, focus it to, like, so you can use it for teleportation or whatever, and it isolates you. It's inertial isolation and confinement too, and that's talked about in this whole paper right here. I'll post in the, I think all this stuff's posted in the description too. I'm gonna post it just to be sure people have it. But anyways, yeah, any questions, guys? Any questions for stuff? I didn't really see this, or if anyone wants to jump on, if anyone has my Skype, I'm Alien Scientist on Skype. You can call me on Skype, and we can get some just people on to have a big conversation about this, dude. Well, the Hubbard Brothers LLC belongs to, really, it's like Ken and me is like a 50-50, and he dropped out because he got super paranoid and scared that I was working for the Russians and selling all his secrets to the Russians, which wasn't true. And if he got that paranoid, I didn't want to like work with someone like that. So that's really his company now. I really, it sucks because I like that name and I would have liked to, done something with that. In fact, I had, I don't know, that's closed now, so I'm going to have to either start a new company or I'm going to have to find some other company to join up with who wants to do this, or get the right amount of people together. I've already gotten some interesting people who have started to come together, and I've got people in my network, but there's so many people that are like, they're scared, man. They're like Ken, they're scared, dude. And what's interesting too is I don't know, man. I think it makes me think that there might be other types of, subliminal mind control that is working against us too, like that throws people off too, because there's so much disinformation out there, and I've been like so caught up with just like chase, like, do I do this? Do I chase that? There's so many different paths that you can take, and only one's going to lead you to like the right, the right thing. And but all of them are pointing to this antimatter stuff. All of it's been talking about this. This is like all the theoretical physics surrounding this are really spot on. So I encourage those with the mathematical and technical background to dive into them or share them with the people that do. This stuff is going to be the future, man. To say the least. I would bet on this. But like, I want to start my own clean room company, just building, like, doing clean room construction, flooring, and managing. I just manage those types of jobs, and that would be like the thing to do, because it's gonna be the future, man. There's gonna be so much work in doing this kind of stuff and building these types of materials. But in any case, yeah, John Wheeler, man, I didn't, it's crazy. Polaritons. I'm getting tired, guys. Yawn. Unless people want to call me on Skype. But it's not putting links through. I'm gonna make some people admins so that they can no, I want to make you an admin. Yes, it's crazy, man. Yeah, go watch if you want. Watch this over and go check out that video I put out yesterday. But I kind of broke something. Let me just break down that video I put out yesterday, just and fill out in some of the gaps of it, and we'll go over it real quick and just fill in some of the gaps. So Jack Sarfati talking again about the same stuff, the tensors the tensors is the math that you need to understand gravity and understand the science behind how this stuff works. You need tensors. But you also need these things called surface plasmons and the polaritons and that math and metamaterials and dielectrics and polaritons, all that good stuff. So this is kind of interesting. It's some of this stuff was these weird effects were discovered in these rotating superconductors by Podkletnov, the Russian, and then some of these other experiments, and they were really investigated by Boeing back in like 2002, 2004. There was stuff publicly about Boeing's top secret research project in anti-gravity, and then it all went hush for years because this has been black for like a while now. They've been researching this, and now it's like coming out like more into the public and mainstream because they realize how hard it would be to manufacture these types of materials ourselves, and what it's going to take as a conglomerated effort in the world to bring everyone together to build all these materials that we're going to need to do this. And to build the assembly line, the infrastructure to produce all this, man. Like we've got a lot of work ahead of us in the next 10 to 20 years to like convert like this generation of freaking millennials into the next workforce that's going to take us to the friggin' beyond the moon and further, like some Star Trek stuff, man. It's if we're gonna do that, it's gonna take some work. But luckily there are some real smart kids out there, some smart cookies in the bunch, and hopefully they make up for some of the majority out there. But yeah, this video is obviously fake. I don't know, so a lot of people got caught up on that, and then they were all like, "Oh, well, that's a fake video." Like, yeah, no shit. But it just kind of like to illustrate the process because I'm not like a super good graphics designer, and and even if I did and spent all that money and time to build, instead of just go out and find a video, I just, went and put one together, then your comment would be CGI. So what's the point? Anyways, people get caught up on that stuff. It's funny. But yeah, this stuff about the quantum eraser, man. I thought that it almost is like interesting. It illustrates the effect because it shoots an image, a ghost. It's like a ghost image of itself. A flash like goes through space, and then it can decide when that image gets to the ground whether it wants to, appear on the ground or stay. You can decide if you want to stay up here or there. It decides after the fact what like path it took, and the information can travel. So literally, when that wave function collapses, the whole craft disappears from up here and then appears down here in the new spot it was projected to with that projection process. And I don't think this is a perfect showing or explanation of how that works. I don't think this is a real video, but I just thought it was an interesting illustration to help kind of visualize this. It's going both routes. You can see it, whatever. Maybe it is real. You can argue about it all you want in the comments below, but it doesn't matter if it's real or not. Okay, so oh shit. Yeah, so that's what the quantum eraser is. That the quantum eraser is that it can the light takes both paths, but and then when the wave function collapses, it takes only one of them, and so that's what happens is like you can send out this projection so that you're taking both of these paths and simultaneously through space and time. And then at the end of it, you only it turns out you only took one of them. So that way, It's weird, but it works, like he said. But I would love for this to work. I don't think it's. I really hope it's not BS. That would be very. This is like finally some hope in this world, that we can actually get the technology isn't that far away, that we can actually get there and we can actually do this and pull together, and that's not like we're not just going to die of global warming or mass extinction or any of these other things, or that maybe we can have these technologies and not get left behind here, like some of the other theories too, So, yeah, the salmon are gay, just like the frogs, and damn it, Joe Rogan, war, war, Joe Rogan. So I don't know that whole thing, man. The Joe Rogan thing. I kind of wanted to at least touch on that because it's so super popular. This whole staged, controlled opposition, with Alex Jones, and then Alex Jones talking to having the talk with good Dr. Phil. You guys see that too? Alex Jones and Dr. Phil. Um, People have been saying. Some people say that they want to see me go on Dr. Phil. Man, that would be freaking intense. uh, but I'd love to go on Joe Rogan, but I don't think Joe. He's not on the level, man. He's not ready for guys like me. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know what it is. What it is about why Joe Rogan won't hasn't had me on, won't have me on. He doesn't want to give me the popularity, but I really think that this subject, if I went on Joe Rogan, I wouldn't even talk about that other thing that I've done so much work on and got so angry about in the past and done so much debunking and truthing and other things on. I wouldn't even talk about that other thing. I would make it all about this and this technology and the science behind anti-gravity and but I'm still piecing all of it together to where I have it so I can really succinctly say for sure what it is, because there's all different ideas and there's all different things I'm reading, and everyone has a different idea, and you read all these different things, and it's about piecing it together to figure out what I think is like and what is actually the ultimate idea. But we're so close with some of these physics concepts and the experiments that can be done with them. I really think that there's going to be a huge breakthrough soon, and that the scientific community may have already like seen some things that they're like starting to wake up to this. But these things are not just for these types of devices too. As if you go and watch more videos on excitons and polaritons, getting excited about excitons and some of the other videos out there that are on this, I won't even talk about like I'm right off the Alex Jones stuff. But it's basically this is controlled opposition. Alex Jones rants and he makes he plays the part of the crazy conspiracy theorist, so you can say that everyone thinks that everyone knows that 9/11 was the Masons and the Freemasons and the Illuminati and George Bush and that, but it's never any of the real details or any of the real information, and there I go talking about that subject again. But I'm never gonna get hired fucking talking about this stuff. Never gonna get on Joe Rogan. So I just gotta leave it alone. But it's just crazy what he's done to paint this image of just insanity and irrationality and illogic, and that it's just nuts to have alternative views of things and to change your mind based on evidence that he won't even bring up or really address or talk about on his shows and stuff. It's crazy. And Alex is so far removed because of all the shit he's been through and all the stuff he's done. He's so far removed that he hasn't he doesn't even know. He doesn't even like have the real command of the real information anymore. He's just so lost in all this other stuff, and and it's really about entertainment, I think, at this point for him. And with all the stuff that's going on with Sandy Hook right now and the lawsuits, they probably, like, he knows he's about to lose everything, and they got him by the balls, and they probably made like a backdoor agreement with him and with Skull and Bones, because they own every judge in Connecticut state, and they can get him off on those cases without losing too much, and he can still stay alive and be afloat after it all, and keep InfoWars and keep his freedom and not be, you know, found criminally responsible for anything. But yeah, he might have made a backdoor arrangement or something with them, like to basically, like, yeah, you go on Joe Rogan, and we'll boost it up and make it super popular with all of our bots. And that's another thing, AI bots have just destroyed the movement, destroyed everything. We need more computer people with, like, they have warehouses full of these computers with these bots, and like, how can you compete with that when they're engineering social media, they're engineering things to, like, boost garbage and boost and downplay like other stuff. I don't know. It's insane. We need so much infrastructure to be able to compete with that. It's insane. But it's literally, they boost the thing up like this so it gets all this attention, and then they just ridicule all these ideas. It's the perfect distraction or disinformation weapon. I mean, even if it isn't meant to be, it's just these guys. Joe doesn't know what he's missing, man. Not having me on his show to talk about this stuff and to really get into it. He doesn't know. But anyways, I'm gonna tweet him right now and be like, get me on your show to talk about polaritons. Tom DeLong and the science of UFOs and anti-gravity. I'm gonna share that other video here. So we got that. Oh. People go on there and like it, and everyone who has Twitter. I know a lot of people are moving off Twitter to some of these other platforms. I think I'm gonna join Gab just to check it out and see what it's about. That's like the replacement for Twitter. I'm already on Minds. I've already begun posting some stuff on Minds.com. I'm recently been on there, and so definitely check me out on Minds, Alien Scientist. Guys, lots of stuff going on. What a crazy world, and what a crazy time to be alive in this day and age, and to see what is going to go down with this freaking technology, and what we're going to have. We're going to see it within our lifetime. Some of us might be, old men, hopefully not, but we're going to see this technology. We're going to build these metamaterials with these structures and test these polariton theories and get it. And I'm sure there's projects that are already underway to do this kind of stuff. It's super classified, but it's almost like it needs to kind of get out to the information in some way so that the people who do understand can understand it. But really, what's going to happen, like Star Trek, it's going to be like first contact when I don't know, you think, like the first time we warp something, it's going to send off this signal to let everyone else know out there that we're doing warp now. It's like they already know what we're doing. What we did in the desert out at Trinity test site in the 1940s, early 1940s. Was it 1945? Yeah, it was 1945, the same year we ended the World War, because we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima less than like a month after that. So, anyways, yeah, it was 45. Where's the thing? It's a live dashboard, dude. Yeah, reverse engineering. I don't know if reverse engineering's a hoax, dude. Because you got to think, man. There's have been space wars in the past. This freaking. I bet you there's. If they could find materials like this, that layered material, there's more of that stuff out there that people can find, and I bet you it's lying around somewhere. You could find this stuff, but that material, I would say, we have to like look back, dude. It's so hard to tell, like the stuff that the stories from Roswell. I'm not going to get into Roswell and stuff, but there's other cases, and that's really for the historians to go back once it like more stuff gets declassified as it starts coming out. But that's going to be more damaging stuff. So the people that like helped hide that stuff for years, or they're going to have to wait till a lot of those people are dead before they release, that, so that just to protect those people who did help hide it. And that was like technically that was their job, not to really excuse what they did and keeping this all from us. But I guess it might have been some of it's for a good reason. Actually, as you learn about some of this technology, it's like, yeah, some of it. This is going to be Pandora's box. It's literally like that's why I described that. It's Pandora's box, dude. Think about what is going to happen to military, to space warfare. What if we go out there and like we're confronted by aliens like right away and they're just like, nope, sorry, or like who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if they're nice aliens, if they're if they're threats, how could we defend against something so advanced and so like powerful, how do we know like by the time we set something up they're not already like on their way here? And if they got warp drive technology, they can get a whole army here in like no time. It doesn't take, they don't have to send it like light years. It doesn't take years, like light years. Or maybe, if they can send it faster than the speed of light. That's still a debate, is whether they can send it something faster than the speed of light. But I don't know. I mean, technically, it travels faster than the speed of light, but I think the message or the information or the signal from it has to travel at the speed of light, and then you can travel through that like wormhole that you opened up. I think that's more how it works. But anyways, guys, it's an amazing place to be alive, an amazing time to be alive, and an amazing day. It's 12 o'clock, and I'm gonna log off right now and take a nap. So yeah, man, I enjoy the conversation, and let's let it continue. Email me at thealienscientist@gmail.com if you have any comments or questions, or you want to join my team and help with the gathering and analysis of information on this subject, because it's quite a bit of stuff, and it's going to take the best minds in the world to really bring it together, bring the information together, and do this what needs to be done. But polaritons, guys, polaritons. This is like so key. All this stuff I've been researching. It's coming together. Amen.